Hey y'all, welcome to or back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make this super cute Christmas hat. I made it first in pink so that I could make sure it looked cute before I did it in the red and white colors. But yes, let's get into it. We're going to start with materials and then we'll jump into the tutorial. Toodles. I'm using Red Heart metallic yarn in the shades white and red. You are welcome to use whatever colors you like, or you can just use the non-metallic yarn. I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. I'm also going to be using a 6mm crochet hook. You do not have to upsize your hook if you don't want to. I'm using elastic because I add elastic to my ruffle hats. It's not required but preferred because the ruffles can be a little heavy. Measuring tape and scissors also if you're going to be adding the elastic. Jumping into round 1, I'm going to be doing a magic circle. You are welcome to do the chain 4 slip stitch method if you do not like doing the magic circle. I personally just prefer the magic circle, and I prefer to pull that little tail out the inside. It's not required. Next, we're going to chain up 2. The chain 2 does not count as a double crochet. We're then going to place 10 double crochets inside of our magic circle. Once you have all 10 double crochets inside of your magic circle, please make sure you're counting. Remember, chain 2 doesn't count as a double crochet. Again, once you have all 10 double crochets inside of your magic circle, you are then going to pull that short string to close your magic circle. And then you're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet that you did to start the round. If you prefer to slip stitch into the chain 2, you can. I just prefer to do the double crochet. Alrighty. Now for round 2, we are going to chain up 2. Remember, it doesn't count as a double crochet. We're going to be increasing. So for this round, we're going to do 4 double crochets, 1 in each stitch, until we get to our 5th stitch. And in our 5th stitch, we are going to place an increase. And then we are going to repeat the pattern of doing 1 double crochet in each stitch until we get to our final stitch or our 5th stitch. And then we are going to do an increase. Again, the pattern for this row is chain 2, 4 double crochet, and increase. Then you're going to do 4 double crochet and then an increase. And those 4 double crochets are going to be 1 double crochet in each stitch, and your increase is going to be 2 double crochets inside of each stitch. You'll notice a pattern as you go throughout the hat, but I am going to stop at round 5 and tell you the pattern as well as give you the full remaining written rounds for this hat. Again, that last stitch will get 2 double crochets, and then you're going to slip stitch into your first double crochet we made to end our round, and that concludes round 2. Now you'll notice it's starting to curve up. I just poke it to the other side so I can work with it easier. And now for round 3, we chain up 2. For this round, we will be doing 5 double crochets before we do our increase stitch. So you're seeing me right now doing 5 double crochets. Remember, 1 double crochet in each stitch. The only stitch that will have more than 1 double crochet in it is our increase stitch, because the increase means 2. And again, see if you can pick up on the pattern. I will be telling you the pattern, of course, later, because it's a simple pattern that we're doing for this entire hat. A simple technique. It is not nothing major in order to get us that triangular shape. But again, for this round, we're doing 5 double crochets and increase. And then we are going to do 5 more double crochets and then an increase. Your last stitch should always be an increase stitch. When you're done with that last stitch, you're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet you made to end your round. Now we're getting ready to start round 4. Round 4 starts with a chain 2. This round we're going to be doing 6 double crochets before we get to our increase stitch. Remember, those 6 double crochets will be 1 double crochet inside of each stitch. And our increase stitch is going to be 2 double crochets inside of the same stitch. Once we finish doing that increase, we are going to repeat by doing 6 double crochets, 1 double crochet in each stitch, and then we are going to be doing our increase stitch as our last stitch. Remember to count your stitches as necessary. You can use stitch markers if you need them, and remember that chain 2 will not count as a double crochet. Again, 6 double crochets, increase, 6 double crochets, increase. Chain 2 doesn't count as a double crochet. You'll end this round with a total of 16 stitches. Once you have all 16 stitches, slip stitch into that very first stitch you used to start your round. And now we are going to chain up 2 to start round 5. Now round 5 is going to be 7 double crochets and then an increase. And then we are going to do 7 more double crochets and an increase. 7 double crochets, 1 in each stitch. 2 double crochets in the same stitch. 7 double crochets, 1 in each stitch. 2 double crochets into the same stitch. And you'll end this round with a total of 18 stitches. LOL, my voice just sounded so weird when I said stitches right there. But again, count your stitches as necessary. You can use stitch markers as you need to. You'll always end with an increase in your very last stitch. The chain 2 does not count as a double crochet. And again, this round will end with a total of 18 stitches. By now, I'm pretty sure y'all are kind of catching on to the pattern of what we will be doing for each round, but I'm about to go over it real quick in detail for those of you that want to just continue doing the pattern. And I also have it written out for you if you just want to see it real quick so you can make it. Pattern for this, or technique for this hat, is each round, if you add 2 to that round, that will let you know how many double crochets you will do before you do your increase. So I'm going to show you in the next clip. Round 8. 8 plus 2 is 10, so you will do 10 double crochets before you do the increase. You look at round 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 double crochets before the increase in round 9. Again, if you prefer to not do the math, I'm also going to show you a physical way on how to tell. If you look at your round in the previous row where the increase is, that very first stitch of the increase will be where you place your last double crochet before the increase. The second stitch will always have the increase stitch in it. So if you don't want to count stitches, just make sure when you get to where the increase was in the previous row, you put 1 double crochet in that first one, and then the very next one, that's your increase stitch, and you repeat. And remember, at the end of each round, you'll always end with a double crochet, so you don't really have to double check the pattern for that as far as the next previous row to see where you did your increase. Again, the pattern is available for purchase on my Etsy, but I also gave it to you for free. This is what the base will look like once you have a total of 60 double crochets in a round. If you want to do more, you can. If you want to do it for a child, you can stop at like 48 or 50 double crochets. But for an adult, my normal ruffle hat base goes up to 60, so I just went to 60. And then you are going to do 7 rounds of no increase, just 7 rounds of 60 double crochets in each stitch. And that last round, you will add elastic because the ruffles will stretch out the hat. If you don't want to add elastic, that's fine. But I'm going to add elastic in my last round, and I am going to come back and meet y'all once I have all 7 rounds done. Feel free to skip this step if you don't want to add elastic, but I want to talk you through it. Chain up 2 to start your round like normal, and you insert your hook to start your first double crochet, but don't actually start it. Leave about a fingertip length of elastic and place it in between the hook and the yarn. Then you are just going to continue to do your double crochet as normal. You want to make sure you aren't like pulling the elastic through, because then you'll have to redo the entire round. But I just crochet over the elastic the same way you would do a yarn tail. Okay, this helps with the ruffles so the hat doesn't hang. Once I finish the entire round, I'm going to take my elastic and I'm going to tie a few knots. Again, if you use 22 inches of elastic, you will have a good amount left over so you're not scrunching it up to tie your knots. I usually tie about 2 or 3 knots. We do crochet over this when we start the ruffles, and you won't really see the color, so it doesn't matter what color elastic you use because the ruffles are just so thick. Okay, but yeah, just tie it up a couple times, and then you slip stitch into that first double crochet like you normally do for the previous rounds and to end the round. And then you are going to cut your yarn. Well, I pulled up a good amount before I cut it. I'm going to crochet over this anyway. You don't have to pull up that much, but pull it through to end your round. And now we are completely done with the base. Now we're about to get into the fun part, which is adding the ruffles to the hat. Now let's jump into those ruffles. I am upsizing to my 6mm hook. You're welcome to use the same hook you use for your base, but the 6mm is going to make those ruffles fluffy. We're going to attach our yarn in any stitch, and then we are going to chain up 3. This doesn't count as a treble stitch. And then we're going to place 5 treble stitches in that very same stitch we did the chain 3 in. And again, you are welcome to do whatever stitch and at however many stitches you want in your round. I did 5 because I want it thick and fluffy, okay? And it will eat up some yarn. It's going to be about 7.5 to almost 8 ounces of yarn for these ruffles. I am crocheting over my elastic. But once you finish this round, we did 5 trebles in each stitch. Slip stitch into your first treble stitch to end your round. Chain up 3 and repeat the process. 5 trebles in each stitch all the way around. It is a lot. Like I said, you're going to use about 8 ounces of yarn, which is a little bit over 1 skein of yarn, okay? Unless you're using like the jumbo saver and those are 10, you'll have some left over. But yeah, it's going to use up a lot of yarn, but they are going to be so thick, and the ruffles are just so fucking cute, guys. I just can't lie. It's so cute. And again, once you finish all 5 trebles in all of the stitches for the round, slip stitch into that first treble to end your round, yarn over, pull through. And I'm actually going to show y'all how I tuck my yarn. I normally don't show that in videos, but I just flip my work. I did end up using a smaller hook because it did make it easier, but you could use the same hook you did for the ruffles. And I did speed this process up a little bit, but I am just placing the yarn in the back of the loops and I'm pulling that yarn tail through. And then when I'm done, I'm just going to bunch it up a little bit and you should be good to go. You can hot glue or super glue this if you want extra security, but I've never really had an issue with it like coming out by doing this method. But whatever method you choose to hide your yarn is up to you. And we're almost done, guys. Now we have to make the pom-pom. All right, guys, this is what the hat looks like before we add the ball. I cannot lie, y'all. I'm living for the ruffles. Like, this is tea. Like, it's a lot, but it is so tea. Because you know I love a dramatic ruffle look. But the Santa vibe is so Christmas. It matches my glasses. Then I got another red tone hair. I'm really a red-ass bitch. But anyways. Oh, wait. I don't want to cuss. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to cuss, but I already did it. Who gives a fuck? Anyways, this is what it looks like when you're done. And then I'm about to show y'all how to make the ball to go on the end. I will be doing treble stitch for the ball just because my other hat, I didn't do treble stitch. And I kind of want to make the ball fluffy just like this. So we're going to be doing 5 trebles in each stitch, let you know. If you want to do it like me, we're going to do that. And if you don't, do it like you, boo. It's your hat, not mine. Okay, let's do it. Now let's make this pom-pom, okay? You're welcome to do a regular pom-pom, but I want a ruffle pom-pom. I left about 8 inches of the yarn tail out before I did my slip knot so I could use it to tie and secure the pom-pom later. Put your slip knot onto your hook, and then I am going to chain up a total of 15. If you want a thicker or bigger pom-pom than what I did, chain up more. And you want to make sure like you're doing a multiple of 3 since we're doing the treble stitch. And if you want it smaller, just do either 9 or do 12. Make sure it's a multiple of 3 because we're doing the treble stitch though. Now, once I had all 15 chains, I skipped the first 3 chains on the hook, yarned over twice, and then in that 12th stitch or 12th chain, I put my first treble stitch. And for the ruffles, I did the same as I did for the hat, 5 trebles in each stitch. You're going to end up with this like super curly link, but for the entire 15 chains, you're going to, well, 12 chains, you're going to put 5 trebles in each stitch. We skipped the first 3 because that counted as like our chain 3, the same way we did for the ruffles. Once you have all the 5 trebles in each stitch for the all 12 stitches or 12 chains, you are then going to chain up 3 and then turn your work, and you're going to repeat the process, 5 trebles in each stitch. So I guess actually you will be using more than 8 ounces of yarn because I didn't include the pom-pom. And I don't have like my scale to measure it out completely, but you will need, let's say, just get like the jumbo, or at least make sure you have 10 ounces. You won't use the full 10 ounces, but you will use more than 8. So, and the skeins for the metallic came in 5 ounces. But again, 5 trebles in each stitch for this round. All right, and once you're done with all 5 trebles in each stitch for the round, you are then going to yarn over. And I pulled up my yarn so that I can tie it off. You want to leave about a good amount of tail for it. But again, I'm going to end up pulling that yarn through the loop for security to knot it off. And I left a good amount. It was way too much. Actually, I didn't need all that. Now, this part is sped up, but this is how we bunch up the pom-pom. You can use a yarn needle, but I'm going to use my 6mm hook. Just feed it through like different parts of the pom-pom. And you kind of want it to be like not in order. It can be a little messy so it has like a non-universal shape. And again, this is sped up a little, well, a lot of bit, okay? But I'm feeding that long tail through. I want it to be on like the opposite side of the short tail because then we're going to feed it through the hat. But once you have them on opposite sides and you fed it through to kind of bunch it up, you are going to just tie it. I'm still actually feeding it through because I need it on the opposite side, but then I'm going to flip it to the back and tie them before I tie it to the hat. If you want to glue it, you can. I didn't glue anything though. I just tied it and it turned out pretty well for me. But again, once you feed it through and it's kind of bunched up and secure like you want, you're going to tie a knot in the back and then we're going to feed it through the hat. You're going to feed it through round 1 of the hat and on opposite sides, and then we are going to tie that through the hat. Again, you can use a yarn needle for this if you like, but you can definitely achieve the same look with the hook. And I just felt like the hook for me was easier than having to thread the needle consistently. I hate fucking threading the needle. That's the worst part of crochet to me, when you have to sew, because I don't want to sew. I want to crochet. You feel me? But again, I tied it up in the back. You might want to check to make sure you like where it's at, but pretty much as long as it's in that first chain and they're on opposite sides in the first round, not first chain, my bad. I tied like 3-4 knots. Then I flipped it through, but I didn't like how it was hanging and I wanted it to be a little bit more secure. So I pulled the long tail back through the hat I pulled it from the outside back to the inside, and I fed it through the same way we did to bunch it up the first time. I fed it back through the pom-pom just so I can secure it a little bit more so it's not just drooping. Like, it's going to hang, but I just feel like it looked a little too loose. It looked a little boneless, like it was just falling off the edge, and I wasn't for that look. But again, you're welcome to stop there. My first hat, I didn't even secure it enough, so that's why this time I wanted to make sure it was secure and that I actually hid the yarn tails this time. But I was liking how it looked now, so I just fed it through one last time, flipped my hat inside out, and then I tied that yarn again. Now, why is the yarn giving me a little hard time, okay? Like, you got it looking like I'm talking too fast. But anyways, I just tied a couple more knots, and you could tie as many knots. You can tuck these tails, you can glue them, you can burn them, you can flip them and reverse them. It's your hat, okay? But because the hat was for me and not a customer, I just tied it a couple times and then cut my yarn tails, and that was it. And now you have finished your hat. All right, guys, this is what the hat will look like once you finish doing all the, my bad. All right, guys, this is what the hat looks like when you're done. We did our ruffles. I think these ruffles are just eating. I love the red. And then I like the metallic sparkly vibe as well. And then I think that at first I thought this was going to be too small and I would want it bigger. But I think this is such a cute, perfect size. Now, I probably will make another hat with a bigger pom-pom and a different ruffle pattern. But this is eating like, bitch, Mariah Carey wishes she could. Like, for real, bitch. The Christmas is mine. I stole Christmas. Call me the Grinch. I'm actually going to make one of these in green and white as well. So I just have to wait for my white yarn got delivered last night. Yeah, I'm excited. Like, I'm finna make so many different colors of these. And if y'all make this hat and you post it on TikTok, make sure you tag me at HeartStrangz or Instagram as well. Comment below if y'all have any questions or y'all need me to like walk y'all through some other, talk y'all through some other steps on how to do this. I will be making a TikTok tutorial as well for those of y'all who prefer TikTok tutorials if you think this video was too long. So I'll be making one of those. I'll probably do that for my Grinch hat. But yes, this eats. I hope y'all enjoy your holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Be blessed. And yeah, see you on the next video. And make sure you comment what other videos y'all would like to see. I will be making some other Christmas things as well. Hats and a few plushies. So stay tuned for that. Toodles.